Hello and welcome to my podcast. I am your host, Xavier, and this podcast is all about sports. It'll be about all breaking news and all professional sports, college sports, and pretty much just covering big games, my thoughts on trades, money situations, contracts, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I will be talking about the NFL draft. As of today, of May 1st, it had already passed about a week. You guys will probably be seeing this on Tuesday, I believe the 7th, Tuesday or Wednesday. So let's hop right into it. So with the first pick in the NFL draft, the Arizona Cardinals selected Kyler Murray. And I like this because of the fact that Josh Rosen, their old quarterback, didn't do too well. He had more interceptions than he did with touchdowns, so, it's not very impressive to the coach's eyes. And Kyler Murray looked like a very good prospect, and his pre-draft analysis is as follows. It says, Murray is an aggressive playmaker with a strong arm, quick release, and elite quickness, yet he is also a sound decision maker who is poised under pressure and isn't easily rattled by mistakes. He throws the ball accurately from a variety of arm angles and excels at making off-balance throws. Now, I agree with this 100% because of the fact that it's what he can do. There's not really much to it. I believe that Kyler Murray can be the franchise quarterback in the future. I really thought that they were going to give Josh Rosen a chance, but it didn't turn out that way. Yeah, that's that. Moving on to pick number 2, Nick Bosa. Now, I thought that Nick Bosa was going to go 1 or 2, even though everybody is saying, Kyler Murray's to the Cardinals automatically. Now, Nick Bosa, I really like him, even though people will say, he only played one game this past year. Well, that one game, he did good. I think it was the first or second quarter he got injured, but even prior to that, he was a really good blocker. He was shut off blocks really good. He's what the 49ers need, and that's a pass rusher. I believe that DeForest Buckner can be the run rusher, and Nick Bosa can be the pass rusher. Now, with the third pick in the draft, the New York Jets selected Quinnen Williams, and I really like this pick, a lot because of the fact that it's a Alabama defensive tackle, and that college is really known for giving out defensive tackles, safeties, and middle linebackers. Now, I really like him because of the fact that he just blew everyone by storm in the college football playoffs last year. And I was like, he's going to be top 3, maybe top 5 if he falls. But yeah, I barely saw any situations where he lost one-on-ones. But other than that, yeah, he's a really good prospect for the Jets. And the Jets are really up and coming with the signing of Le'Veon Bell, which in my next podcast, I'll be talking about the NFL draft signings. With that being said, with the number 4th pick, the Oakland Raiders selected Clelin Ferrell. I haven't got confirmation how to say it. Now, this pick, everybody in the NFL was surprised and everything. Now, I saw Clelin Ferrell going as a mid first round. The reason is because, for one, he's not a name that everybody knows, or not many people do know at all. He does fit into the scheme of 3-4 as a linebacker, which I believe that the Raiders, if they don't mess it up, that he could be a really good player for them. But as we all know, they decide to get rid of players that they develop into superstars and get rid of them, such as Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper. Everybody knows about those two. But yeah, there's not much really that I could say about him because of the fact that I really didn't pay attention to him in college. He did come from a big school, Clemson University. I just didn't pay close attention to him. Devin White with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now I like this because of the fact that Quan Alexander does not play for them anymore. He plays with the San Francisco 49ers now. And just to touch up back on that, Quan Alexander and Nick Bosa, that's going to be scary on defense. But Devin White, I really like this because of the fact that he can come in right away and make an impact. Now, I did not clear this up, but I am a Saints fan, and let's just say as a Saints fan, I do not like this signing because of the fact that we got to first him twice a year, but who knows. Now, with the 6th pick, the pick that surprised everybody in the draft more than the Raiders, I would think, is the New York Giants selected Daniel Jones from Duke University. Now, Daniel Jones, Duke University, he can be maybe a late first rounder or second, third. But the fact that he went so high, I feel like everybody was surprised. Now, I did watch Duke this past season because of the fact that they're a basketball school, but this past year they were, I forgot what ranking they were, but they were really up there. So, yeah, I did see him play. He's a really good quarterback. Maybe not first-round talent, but, hey, the Giants see him as first-round talent. But then again, this is the same team that got rid of Odell Beckham. That'll also be in my free agency podcast. So with the 7th pick in the draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected Josh Allen from Kentucky. Now, I didn't pay close attention to the name of Josh Allen from Kentucky, but I can tell you that Kentucky's defense, as I talked about Daniel Jones just now, they were a good team in general, but the defense was actually really good. I watched a couple of his highlights, and I like the way he played. He's a really speedy linebacker, and he can close the gap on the outside on running backs. He's a really good tackler, and he can just get into those gaps with the running backs. Now, I don't have too much to say about him, but we'll see how he turns out. And with the 8th pick, the Lions selected T.J. Hawkinson. Now, the crazy part about this, which I'll get into later when it comes across, I believe this is the college that Iowa, I believe that they're the college that had 2 tight ends go from the same school, but I'm not sure. T.J. Hawkinson, though, looking over his stats and everything, I never ever watched him play in college, but I did watch his highlights and I seen his stats. He's a rare tight end. I mean, as I see, he's really good in the passing game and as a blocker in the passing game. His run game defense is questionable. It can work. At least I think it can be worked on. He's really, really lengthy, 6'5". He reminds me a lot like Jimmy Graham, being 251 as his weight too. I question if he's worthy of a 8th round pick or a 8th pick of the draft, but we'll see. Now with the 9th pick, the steal of the draft for me would have to be Ed Oliver. Now Ed Oliver was phenomenal in my opinion. I thought he was going top 3, but for some reason, some way, he fell out of the top 5 and went 9. Now, about Ed Oliver, I mean, it's pretty straightforward if you've seen him play, but if you haven't, he's a run gap defender. He can close out on any running back he comes across. Just don't let him get in the backfield because your quarterback will go down. He hasn't really, I mean, I guess he can follow the top 10 because he hasn't showed his real potential, but he did come out this year because of the fact that he lit it up in college. But we'll see. But yeah, I do think that the Bills got the steal of the draft with Ed Oliver. Now, number 10, Devin Bush from Michigan University. The Steelers got him. I believe this pick was traded from Denver. Denver originally had this pick, which I was Now, looking back on it, I'm surprised that Denver didn't keep this pick because I don't think they picked until later. But yeah, he's a linebacker. I've seen him play under Jim Harbaugh. He's a really good player. He can be actually great in the NFL. In that defense, the Steelers' defense, they have a high tendency of getting really good defensive safeties and defensive linebackers. But hey, they traded up for him, so I mean, they're really high hoped on him, so I'm pretty sure he's going to be coming in right away and starting because Ryan Shazier is no longer there. We all know what happened with him. But yeah, 11. From the Bengals, Jonah Williams, Alabama offensive tackle. Now, I don't know much or actually anything about offensive tackles at all, but that's when highlights and scouting reports come into play. So according to his highlights, he was actually a really good coverage player for, I believe it was, I don't even know how to say his name, but Tag Tua from Alabama. But yeah, he was a really good defender. He's actually really speedy, so I mean, he's really good in the when they blitz him. But yeah, I really don't have much to say about him. Now, Rashan Gary from Michigan, defensive end. Like I said, I have watched Michigan multiple times. They're a high power school, so I'm always watching them. I believe that this will be the bust of the draft. I don't know, but just with the Packers situation right now, I feel like maybe he will be a star but not get recognition, or he could be the biggest bust in the draft, just because of the fact that I don't see his strength and power coming into play in that defense. Who knows, but maybe he could prove me wrong. Now, 13, Christian Wilkins from Clemson. Now, he just fell out. He went 13. I thought he was going to go top 10, but it's only a couple spots. Defensive tackle, though, I really liked his, the one thing that stood out to me was his quick hands and his speed to get off the defenders to get the running backs as a run defender. But yeah, he's really good. He can have a good career over there in Miami. He could be the next Ndamukong Suh, or he can be the next bus driver. Who knows? Okay, and the Falcons, they got an offensive guard, Chris Lindstrom. I looked over his draft analysis and his highlights. From what I've seen, he's a pretty good run blocker situation. That's pretty much all I gotta say about him. We'll see how he turns out. I mean, he is covering for Matt Ryan, an elite quarterback, so we shall see what happens with that. Now, the most questionable pick of the draft was the Redskins getting Dwayne Haskins. Now, the reason why I say questionable is because of the fact that he should have went top 5, top 10, people would argue. But definitely, he should have went to the New York Giants, who picked Daniel Jones over him. And actually, there's a viral video of Dwayne Haskins shaking his head when he heard that the New York Giants selected Daniel Jones over him. You guys can look that up all over social media. It's out there. But yeah, he was a really good player for being 6'3" and 231. He's a really good pocket passer, but he can also run outside and get some yardage. And I think that he can be the next Michael Vick because of the fact that he has a really good sense of sensing pressure. But yeah, we'll see what that happens with. I believe he will be starting beginning of the season. There's no question about it that any other back or any other quarterback will beat him out because of the fact that Alex Smith is injured for this whole season. But we'll see. But yeah, I do believe he will be a really great quarterback. 16, Brian Burns, outside linebacker from Florida State. I didn't watch much of him or much of Florida State anyway, but I did read over his stats and his analysis, and I guess that he's a pass rusher, and they're saying that he does have room to grow. He consistently wins with his awareness, but like I said, I can't really give my opinion on him because of the fact that I never really watched Florida State in the beginning. Now, Dexter Lawrence, I believe that he fell out of the draft. The New York Giants, this is where they rebounded themselves, I believe, because they got a really, really good defensive tackle in him. And they actually got this pick from the Cleveland trade where Cleveland got Odell Beckham. But yeah, we'll see what he does in the NFL for the Giants. I mean, he could either be Jason Pierre-Paul or he can be the next bench warmer. We never know, but he does have a grade of a B+, so they are ranking him pretty high. But I did watch him play, and he's a really good player. I really think that he fell out of the draft. Now on to the next pick. 18, the Minnesota Vikings got a center from North Carolina State, Garrett Bradbury. Now, offensive lineman is not my thing, but like I said, I read over him, and he's a really good pass blocker. His awareness and he works his mirror as well, as it says. But yeah, that's pretty much what his draft analysis is. They're ranking him at 90, so an A. We'll see how he turns out in that offense. Number 19, the Tennessee Titans selected Jeffrey Simmons from Mississippi State, defensive tackle. I do like my defense, but I did not watch Mississippi State, but I did root over. And supposedly he had a ACL tear in his left knee while training for the draft a couple months ago. I was unaware of that, never heard of this story, but that could either slow him down or maybe that's why he fell off. I mean, maybe he's supposed to go top 10, but who knows. But reading over his stats and his sizes and everything, so he has natural leverage and is stout for his size. He has long arms and above average upper body strength, so that's really good for a defensive tackle, especially if he's playing the nose tackle, where he can just stuff anybody like an Ndamukong Suh as a run rusher. But we'll see with that ACL if it disrupts him in training camp. Now, the next pick, number 20, the Broncos selected Noah Fant from Iowa, tight end. Now this pick is from Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh got Devin Bush from the Broncos trade, or from the Broncos pick. And this I really like because of the fact that the Broncos, yeah, they might not have that quarterback, but they have receivers, Emmanuel Sanders and what's his name? I don't know, it's not coming to me right now, but the rookie from last year, man, it's really gonna bother me that I don't know his name, but yeah, I think that Noah Fant will fit in right into this offense because of the fact that, yeah, I said that the Broncos don't really have a quarterback because of the fact that, yeah, Joe Flacco is there, but he's also old. Not saying that he can't perform now because he sure can, but the fact that of the future. But I read that Joe Flacco has the highest pass percentages to his tight ends, so that's a plus for this pick, and that's possibly why they picked him. Now, with the next pick, the Green Bay Packers, I believe that I said the Green Bay Packers a lot today. But they picked Darnell Savage Jr. from University of Maryland. He's a safety. He's 5'11", 198. A little bit undersized. I mean, not really, but we'll see. As a safety, he ran a 4.4 at the combine, so that's really good. He's a ball hawk, so that's really good as a safety. He's a run defender, so actually he's a really good all-around player. I didn't watch any of his highlights, but I did. I am reading his draft analysis, so he can actually be really good in that defense. They did get rid of Clay Matthews to the Rams. Clay Matthews was declining, I believe, but we'll see. Now with the 22nd pick, of the draft, the Eagles selected Andre Dillard, Washington State, offensive tackle. Like I said, I'm not a really offensive tackle guy. But yeah, there's that. Next pick. Back-to-back offensive tackles. This one's Titus Howard from Alabama State. Now, I'm going to go a little bit into depth with this one, even though I said I'm not that kind of guy, because of the fact that I heard a lot about Titus Howard. And I heard a lot about him mostly to do with his length and his athletic ability in general. He can really beat you in the pass protection. I actually watched some of his highlights because I never heard so high of an offensive tackle. But we'll see how he goes. He is, like I said, with the Texans. So Deshaun Watson really has a really good defender. But yeah. Now, with the 24th pick in the draft, the Oakland Raiders, again, they have, I believe, one more after this. But in the 24th pick, they picked Josh Jacobs from Alabama, running back. Now, I really like this pick because of the fact that they never really had a running back the past couple years. Yeah, people can argue that Marshawn Lynch did good for them, but in reality, not really compared to what these other running backs can do. I really liked Josh Jacobs and his talent over there in Alabama. I really liked him this year. He's 5'10", 220, so not really the size that an average person would be, but I compare him as a Saints fan to Alvin Kamara. Even NFL analysis people are saying that he has quick feet and his burst off the line is just insane. So Derek Carr, you're gonna have fun with that one. Now, with the 25th pick, it's crazy because I actually predicted this pick right before it happened. Wide receiver Marquise Brown from Oklahoma. The Ravens got him, and the reason why I predicted it was because I was like, okay, well, they already got their running back. They got their quarterback in Lamar Jackson. All they need is just a speedy wide receiver for Lamar Jackson to roll out of the pocket and pass it to him. So I was like, who's the best one out there? Or one of the best. And I was like, okay, well, Marquise Brown. I didn't really, I did watch Kyler Murray out there. Didn't really pay attention to Marquise Brown so much, even though he was passing to him. But like I said, he is a really speedy receiver. He's 5'9", so he's undersized, more like a Ted Ginn type player. They're actually comparing him to Ted Ginn himself. But yeah, we'll see. After the catch, he's really good when he gets in open space. So they're going to have really fun with that pick and that offense. Now 26, Montez Sweat from Mississippi State, defensive end. Now, I did watch him a lot, and this pick isn't actually the Redskins pick. It is actually the Colts pick. And now Montez Sweat, I really like him because of the fact that he's just like ginormous. He's 6'6", he's 260 pounds, and he can just demolish any offensive tackle that he goes against. There's not really much to say about him other than he's just a robot that can do anything. So the Redskins really got a good player in him. Now the 27th pick, the Oakland Raiders, with their last pick of the first round, they got Jonathan Abram from Mississippi State, a safety. I didn't watch too much of him. I did watch some highlights and read his analysis. He's a hard-hitting safety. He has good size. For a safety, he's 5'11". He's speedy for his height. He ran a 4.3 at the combine. The only question I have about this is they have Carl Joseph, they have Jonathan Abram now, but people also forget that the Raiders did sign LaMarcus Joyner, and they also had to sign Carl Joseph. Now they have this safety, so I don't know how that backfield's really going to work. Yeah, one could play free safety, another could play strong safety. One has to ride the bench. Maybe that'll be Carl Joseph because of the fact that I didn't really like how he performed. And then maybe they'll give Jonathan Abram a chance. With the next pick, we have Jerry Taylor. The reason why I really like this pick is because it's the Chargers. And if anybody knows how the Chargers are, they're a really good defense. Really underrated offense, but this guy, he's a defensive tackle from Notre Dame, and I believe he could fit right next to Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa. And I believe that he can just come in right away, make an impact, and he's really people say that he's really frustrating to offensive tackles. He has his vertical is 32 inches, and so he can really be in on blocks. He's 6'7" too, so he's really lengthy for his position. So we'll see how that works out, but I think that he'll really fit in well. Now, with the 29th pick in the draft, the Seattle Seahawks selected L.J. Kohler. Sorry if I'm messing that up. But he is a defensive tackle from TCU, or defensive end from TCU. Didn't watch much of him, but I did read his analysis and did watch some of his stats. He's a 4-3 type player. He has excellent length and power. So just on paper, he can actually fit into this scheme with the Seahawks. With the 30th pick, I picked Deandre Baker from Georgia, cornerback. Now, this pick right here, as I said earlier in the broadcast, that I was a Saints fan. Now, this pick went from last year, we had it, and then we traded it to Green Bay, so it was Green Bay's this year, and then Green Bay during the draft traded it to Seattle, and then right before they picked, Seattle traded it to the Giants. So I'm surprised that Seattle didn't keep it, because they would have had back-to-back picks, but maybe they just didn't like what they saw on paper. But DeAndre Baker from Georgia, cornerback, he's really good, really athletic, he has quick feet. Now, I did watch him play, obviously, as a fan of football there in the college football playoffs. He's really speedy, so he can really help in the run game too. The Giants, I believe, possibly won this trade because they only gave up I think a 6th or 7th round draft pick for this player, but we'll see. Who knows? The 6th round, 7th round guys are never talked about until they make an immediate impact, but we'll see what happens. Now, with the 31st pick in the draft, the Falcons went offensive tackle again. Caleb McGarry from Washington. Didn't watch much of him, but here are some stats on him. He's 6'7", 317 pounds. He's a good run blocker, so that's good for whoever's in the backfield. I believe it's Tevin Coleman. But yeah, I really don't have much to say, but there's that. And with the 32nd pick, the Patriots selected N'Keal Harry from Arizona State. Now, the reason I disagree with this pick is because of the fact that I believe that N'Keal Harry was going to go way higher than this. Maybe top 20, top 15. But who knows? Everybody that slept on him will eventually regret it one day. He's for being his size, he's 6'2", 228 pounds. He's really speedy. I believe he ran a 4.3 at the combine. He's lining up next to Cordell Patterson, Chris Hogan, Josh Gordon. If he comes back, he's suspended right now. Pretty sure people know that already, but yeah. Gronkowski did retire, so I'm surprised they didn't go tight end. And actually, they didn't go tight end throughout this whole entire draft. So yeah, there's that. Now that wraps up the first round. Now I'm not going to go round by round because that'll just be way too long. But what I am going to do is go through 3 or 4 of sleepers that I believe that fell out of the top round that should have went. And actually, now in the second round, with the first pick of the second round, actually is a sleeper for me, Byron Murphy from Washington. And the reason is because he was picked by the Cardinals, which they do need. So I'm pretty sure they're happy that he fell. But I believe that he was a really, really top talented player that can easily start for any team right away. He just has that mentality of a starter. People are saying that they remind him of Patrick Peterson, but we'll see about that. Now moving on to the next pick, I have Drew Lock going to the Broncos. And the reason why this is a sleeper pick to me is because Drew Lock was a phenomenal quarterback in Missouri. I really liked him, and actually I was pretty upset with this pick only because I wanted the Saints to draft him. That didn't happen, but we'll see. I was really surprised that they got him because of the fact that they have Andrew Luck for, I believe, 2-3 years, but I don't think Drew Lock will be starting right away. I think it'll be more of a Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre situation, where one sits and one comes in after the other one leaves. But yeah, there's that. Now with the next one, not a sleeper pick or anything, but the Saints' first pick at the draft, second round, and that is Eric McCoy, center. Now the reason why I like him is because of the fact that he came in as a junior, played 3 years of college, and he only allowed 1 sack for his whole entire career. He's a really good center and the run blocking too as well, so he can really work with Alvin Kamara and now Latavius Murray. We needed a center. Every Saints fan was mad at this pick because it's a center, but we really need it because Max Unger, our center, just retired. So yeah, there's that one. The next one is A.J. Brown from Ole Miss, and I believe he will be a sleeper pick, especially in that offense of the Titans where Marcus Mariota and Derrick Henry are running back there in the backfield. Now, A.J. Brown fits in right away. He's a shifty for his size. I believe he's 6 foot, 6'1". He makes the first defender always miss on highlights that I've seen. So as long as he can get on the outfield, then it's pretty much GG from there. Now, with the last pick that I'll be talking about in this podcast is DK Metcalf. Now, DK Metcalf, I thought he was going to go first round, middle, like 15 to 20. That didn't happen. He's a really, really good player and person in general. He is 6'3", 228 pounds, really big for a wide receiver. I'm pretty sure everybody's seen pictures on him, and he's just like a ginormous Hulk or something like that. But yeah, he really has long arms and big hands, so Russell Wilson, you got yourself a weapon over there. Now, okay, so that pretty much wraps up my first podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said in the beginning, I have social media at Root of All Sports, and that is on Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. So thank you guys for watching, and have a good day. I'm out. Peace.